I don't want to get into it.
And ain't nobody gonna stop me.
Front yard both times.
Fucking bath towel boy over here.
Listen, we talked about this. I put in tranny because we talked about tranny.
Not okay. I know what you're getting at. Okay.
Is that what we not talked about?
No, we
What
did.
we
I'm
talk
just.
about?
We did. I don't want to buy a stopwatch, motherfucker.
What did we talk about?
All right, what'd I miss?
We talked about transgender
Non-trannies.
athletes. Oh, Jesus. I
Which
think
one
it's
is
sometimes.
it,
I
Bug?
think it's sometimes how we say things.
Well, of course, it's how we say things, but
And maybe I don't know. I don't know if that's a term that is accepted in that community. That I do not know.
listen.
Non-trannies?
No, just trannies.
Transmissions.
Oh, gosh, I gotta get a beer for this. Oh my god.
Transmissions.
Yeah. Plot twist. We're really talking about transmissions.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about how many?
Fuck.
Oh my god.
Buglet. This is. I mean, this is a new one. The cliffhanger is solid. Though. Solid, man.
You guys want to talk about blah?
I
I'm
mean,
waiting.
your ability
Maybe, I
to
don't
not
know.
stare off in the distance is incredible. Oh, hey, buddy. God damn it.
Ah, you fucking creep.
Trannies.
What's the thing that P you can't handle? It's a sound, right?
No.
It's a song.
Oh.
I think there's
No,
a
it's
song that he
not.
doesn't like.
It's a fucking whisper song, bro. I hate whispering.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going with like a towel.
Yeah, towels. Just drying my own body. I don't know why I gag.
Towels.
Well, it's not even towels. It's just like whenever I get out of the shower and I'm drying myself, I gag every time. And I don't know why.
It's the funniest.
Hey,
There you go.
pet peeves is next week, boys.
I'm just gonna wear a towel next week.
Where, on your head or where?
Please.
Your
Just
waist?
over the shoulders, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, man. What if you had it
Yeah.
twirled up like a little girls do when they get out of the shower? Just look like a Marge Simpson.
I've already been down that road.
Sexy beast.
Yeah, but
I can't stand the
towels.
sound of styrofoam.
Oh,
That one's
Get it.
understandable.
Styrofoam gives me
Styrofoam.
fucking toothache. It's
Yep.
so gross.
It's the
Styrofoam.
whatever it's called that they put in your
Screeching
mouth at
noise.
the doctor to hold your tongue down.
This,
Yeah, those little
the fucking
fucking-
popsicle
the tongue
sticks.
blades.
The
Popsicle sticks, yeah.
I mean,
Like popsicle sticks, you can't stand them.
that's your pet peeve is
Taste of it?
popsicle sticks.
No. What like weirds me out is when like just that dryness. If like they try to hold your tongue down or something, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Like I'm literally getting like goosebumps. Like the texture of it on like
What do you do
Dude.
when do you not eat many popsicles?
yeah, but I'm not chewing on the fucking stick like I'm like mammoth. Like geez,
You
you
got a
get through
phobia.
that. If I get to the end and I happen to like bite on it or like take a lick and there's nothing there but just popsicle stick, I might as well just jump off a
sit-
cliff.
You panic.
I might as well just call it.
popsicle in years.
It can't be the same thing as like nails on a chalkboard. Styrofoam.
Yes.
Like
Styrofoam.
it gives you
Man,
the
hey,
fucking
first of all,
willies
hey.
and yeah.
Can we take a minute here and realize that we're critiquing this more than fucking bath towel boy over here?
Hey, I thought we got past that, okay?
Like, come on, man. This guy he can't fucking cleanse his body and dry off like a normal human without getting fucking weirded out.
Yeah,
You get like a whole blow dryer set up in your bathroom. Just avoid the towels
He's got
altogether.
like Dysons in every corner of his freaking house.
I sit there and prolong my showers because I'm just like, I know it's coming. It's gonna suck.
Oh, man.
Water's freezing cold. But
I'm just saying,
You just stare. Do
I
you
think
have
mine is a
stare
little
off?
more acceptable than like flossing with a towel. All right.
See,
I
I don't
mean-
know what it is either. I just every time I get out, I'm just like, I don't know what it is, and it's just weird.
So what
And I
kind of
fucking
towels do you
told-
use but like are you using towels coated with popsicle sticks? Because then I'd understand.
Well, that'd make perfect sense.
Yeah,
No,
styrofoam
100%.
towels.
I'm 100% on your team if that's the case.
Air dry only.
Yes.
No, I guess I'm just using your regular ass towel, but maybe it's just,
Yeah.
I honestly don't know what it is, but it's every single fucking time. And then, like, I gag so hard,
You're taking another shower to clean off.
Go on, buddy. You have
I'm
to
not
finish
telling
it
you guys
now.
anything. I
He's in the
gag so
shower
hard, my
getting a
nuts
wash
shrink.
off. He gets to go through puberty again.
And then it's embarrassing because there's a mirror there. And I'm like, you're a failure, man. What are you doing?
Oh, man.
It's pathetic. I hate showering because of that.
I showered. But I've already heard this before from fucking P.
Oh,
So I already know about this, so
We've talked about this.
I haven't heard the popsicle stick thing.
It's just the texture. It's a texture thing. Like on a, it can get grippy on your tongue. Like if you like lick and like it's like.
How many
it's
do you
just-
lick, by the way?
By the way, this is like I haven't had a like popsicle experience like this in decades. Okay,
Well, yeah, because you're terrified.
but
You're explaining.
Like-
Avoided it.
it's more so. It's not
explaining
a
like
pop-
trauma.
okay, it's not about popsicles. Like I know how to eat a fucking popsicle. I'm not a fucking 2-year-old. Okay, I'm talking about when you go to the doctor, and this has also been forever where this has happened, but where they have to use it to hold your tongue down. It's probably a gag thing mixed with like the smell of it. You smelled one of those things? It's just come on, man.
It's like wood.
You know what? Next week I'm gonna ship you all one, and we're gonna do it on camera and see how you guys fucking like it.
I've done this cinnamon challenge, Bug. All right.
I did too. I did too.
Pass.
I nailed it.
Some of us-
Listen, I
That's
can
why
do
I
it.
nailed
Oddly
it.
enough, I can do it. Hey, not so much.
It's
Not so
the
much.
texture. It said it's trying to go down my throat, and it's a gag reflex thing, and then the smell. It's that combination wrapped into one evil little fucking piece of wood.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where you're going with that. That could have gone
Yeah, I mean-
a couple different.
That is kind of weird though, because it's like very specific to you. So like you, even just the thought of it,
Penis.
like the thought of penis drives you nuts.
Drives you nuts? I can see where you're going there.
Cowboys' butts.
Hey, if I ever feel backed in the corner, I'm gonna just start whistling. So you better buckle down there, buddy.
Oh shoot!
Oh,
Beth Towel boy.
shit. Oh, boy, that is a pretty solid name, though. Olive
BTB.
Fingers and Beth. He got
Wait,
some
we're
good
gonna-
names, man.
Save some puss for the rest of us there.
We're gonna have so many great T-shirts.
Yeah, guaranteed.
So here's the thing. Going back to Olive Fingers, I talked to my wife about this. I said, hey, look, like we went to different schools and we had different upbringings, whatever. I was like, I used to put bugles on your fingers. I was like, did you ever have anybody at recess run around with like 10 little black fingers in their olives? And she's like, who's bringing olives to recess as a snack? I'm like, well, Pete tried to say that he was poor, but then we try to combat that with olives aren't cheap.
Yeah.
They're probably like more expensive than a bag of bugles. So
Maybe, I guess-
she unfortunately couldn't
Enough.
relate to you. I'm sorry.
You know, I haven't found anyone that can. I'm still searching.
Oh God,
But-
here we go.
Just,
I think you're gonna be on your own for a while.
I'm just the best there is. Just unique, you know.
Plain and
Greatness doesn't
simple.
come to everybody.
Olives,
Olives.
not bad. Isn't there like a cartoon named Olive Fingers?
There's isn't that
Salad
Popeyes?
Fingers or something?
I think Olive. Isn't that
That's a woman's name on Popeye.
yeah, isn't that what it is?
Yeah,
Isn't that who he dates?
That's my only ally right now. That's
Olive
the
oil
only
or-
olive you can come
Olive?
up with.
She
Yeah,
didn't even got
so-
fingers. She's just olive.
Olive juice. You know, it's like I love
Buddy.
you.
Olive juice.
You
You too,
mouth.
buddy. Yeah.
See, I hadn't heard that. Then my wife was like, "Oh, so I love you too." I was like, "Okay, yeah, I love you too." But back to the olive fingers. She's like, "No, you've never heard of olive juice?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's in the fucking bottom of the jar of olives." I had no idea.
Nice. Not bad.
I think it's off of What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Pretty sure. Like the old school Leonardo DiCaprio movie.
I'll trust you.
All right. Well, appreciate it.
Timbo, you right there, buddy?
Am I back? Yeah, I just lost audio for a minute.
Ah,
No.
I
yeah.
feel like I missed out on a lot of good shit. So you guys
Yeah,
laughing a lot.
You keep jumping in and out and in and out.
I
He's
know,
very
yeah.
anti-olives.
I fucking hate olives.
You know?
Especially
So-
people that put olives on their fingers.
Yeah.
Jeez, man, you're missing out. Cool people. Tell you what.
I actually honestly
I
almost
felt left
came-
out because I didn't like olives as a kid, and so like my cousins always put them on their fingers, and I felt left out, man.
Fuck yeah.
See, I almost came on tonight with and just like slowly go like this.
Oh, man.
With
Yeah.
olives
If you had 10 olives on your fingers like that, I'd slowly lift my shirt. Yes.
And just,
Yes.
And just to tame you, I'd pull out a bath towel.
Oh, yeah, I'd lose it.
All right. Well, you know
Cat shit.
he's going to now.
You better
Sooner or
not.
later, he's going to surprise attack you, guaranteed. I already know it. I see the look in his eyes. It's very
Yeah, it's olive juice, buddy. Olive juice.
you got
Olive
all the juice
juice
in your
too.
eyes.
I'll
So,
fuck
bug
these
trans,
olive juice, bro.
huh?
Transitioning to a
So-
different topic. Oh, thank you.
Nice.
The thought of this came up because we all probably saw the male swimmer,
Yeah, there's a dude in the pool.
former male swimmer transitioned to a female competing in female athletics. Now, I think Brad and I kind of talked about this a little bit already.
Yes.
What triggered me was some of the reaction I saw on Facebook from people I have known since high school. And I legit unfriended some of these people because it was like, look, I get it. I can agree with this is something we need to talk about and have a stance on, but the aggression and the anger, I'm like, it's not like they came up and chopped someone's legs off. They're just trying to, that's who they believe they are.
Mhm.
But I also believe the side of it where there is a genetic makeup that this person was born with, a bone structure, a muscle structure that, and I'm all for equal rights and all that, but let's be honest, men are typically on average stronger, faster than women.
Yeah.
Now,
I
granted,
mean,
there are
not
women that are
typically,
faster.
there's 100%.
Well, I'm saying there's women faster than me, stronger than me, no doubt.
Yes.
But I'm saying on average, meaning
Go on.
if you put same everything side by side, the man's probably going to be faster, stronger. So,
Well, just
innately
genetically speaking, like averages, the men.
That's what I'm saying,
there's
on
more-
average.
the bone density is just bigger,
Yeah.
or just heavier as people. Faster, more muscle mass.
And that's what I'm saying. On average, men are stronger, faster than women.
Yeah.
So if you're going to treat the way I look at it is performance enhancement, you're taking a DNA structure, a genetic pool, and using that in a a pool of people that aren't as blessed or lucky as you in that regard. And look, I'm not 6'4" like I may have wanted to be. There are people out there that are guys and girls that are. I get that part of it, but the whole point of it is I almost view it kind of as a performance enhancing drug, right? And if we're going to outlaw those, ban those, view them as they are, maybe there's a way that this person, this female, can compete and win awards and get praise and do all that. But we gotta we just have to have a discussion and figure out what that is. What's the dynamic? What's the structure?
You'd have to have your own league.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think so.
The transitioning league is the only way to
All
do
right.
it.
It's a different world now.
You covered it.
Almost makes sense. Yeah.
I
We've
mean, you
solved it,
would
boys.
have to.
Call it a
I
night.
mean, there's I don't know the WNBA, the NBA. There could be the TBA.
There's also
NBA.
Special Olympics. There's
Yeah.
Paralympics. There's all that kind of stuff. There's all that kind of stuff that is tailored to a competitive pool of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only way to do it, though. There's zero. You either stay in the men's league. There's no going over to the other side, even if you quote unquote transition or
In
whatever
regards of the competitive aspect.
yes. I mean, that's the only aspect there is. On the other stuff, anything that involves like physical stuff. I mean, there's no men and women's in chess. It's just chess because there's no physical aspect. But there's a reason that men and women have different leagues when it comes because physical attributes is because men are just bigger, stronger, faster. Just physics. It's just science. It's just the way the fuck it is.
The best of the best of men, best of the best of women in sports, you're going to have a higher competitive advantage on men. I forget what comedian it was. I think it was Dave Chappelle was literally talking about not the transgender part of it, but how
Tease.
what's that?
The tease is what he refers to them as.
Okay. His particular topic on this was like, we want to, women want to be equal, and they wonder why the WNBA isn't, as maybe not the same viewership, not the same following, whatever, and they're complaining. It's like, well, then go over to the NBA, just have the NBA, compete in the NBA. If you think you are equal and you can compete, then compete in the NBA. Just do it.
I mean, he specifically brings up LeBron, saying LeBron's going to score 840 points a game, which
yeah. And I hate to say that because I enjoy like when I watch soccer, I love watching the women's team more than the men's. One, they're way more competitive in their sport, and they're just good, and they're fun to watch for me. That's how it is. And unfortunately, like you can enjoy like any sport under the sun. Like when I was working at previous job, I went to a ton of like college softball games, and I loved watching it. It's a little different, but I love watching it, and that's great. It's just it's a bummer that it can't be equal in viewership and pay for play and all that kind of stuff. But you also got to look at what it's bringing in on a day-to-day basis. So it's okay to be different is what I'm saying. Is it's okay to be different. It's okay to be born a man genetically, but think you belong as a female. Totally okay. I have no issues with that. You be who you want to be.
Yeah.
But probably needs to be a league for that. Just like if you're unfortunately born with a handicapped or had an accident and you're now in a wheelchair. Hey, we have leagues for that, and we have Olympics for that, and we have all of that for that. And I think it's okay. It's okay to segment things.
Well, the thing is, it's so new in a sense of like where it's actually, gaining traction and support, and they're standing up, and, good for them. But it's so new that the world is slowly trying to adapt for that it's just not in place yet. And that's like,
but it's like
kind of
over
what they're doing now. Yeah. I mean, sensibilities are definitely different.
I mean,
it almost feels like the world got softer, but at the same time, it's like it's so new that they have to try and we learn off our history and, just how wrong even 60, 75 years ago, 50 years ago, like whatever, how wrong like that type of stuff was, like the slavery, the, black and white schools, all that stuff. And so they don't want to repeat history by making a group of people feel completely shunned or like you're not accepted in a way.
Which is
fine. Like you identify as a female, you feel you're a female, but you can't compete with the females. Like I actually, that's actually a very good point. I can see that side of it. That's a good point.
But common sense to everybody else understands athletically the advantages, disadvantages.
Oh, for sure.
And how you could see somebody taking advantage of that particular scenario. I mean, you could just that
I feel like,
and want to come in and dominate for whatever self-achievement thing, or just so that you could hold records, whatever it may be. There's going to be a bad, like someone that is going to abuse that power and just kind of take advantage of the system.
Yeah, definitely. That's always come across my mind. Just somebody that couldn't compete and wants to hop over and have that advantage. Um, I mean, shit. We're talking about the swimmer, right? I mean, I just
Well,
felt
any of them,
bad.
but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like weightlifters and whatever too in the collegiate level, but I feel bad for those girls that worked so hard
Yep.
for and made it to that
Fuck
point
yeah.
and then got
Fuck
second
yeah.
place.
That's why I'm
And-
surprised there's not more pushback. Like if
Yeah.
somebody just
Like-
rolled in and I was a woman and some man just rolled in and crushed all the records because he's physically just bigger and stronger, I would be livid working your whole fucking life for that shit. Your
So
whole
much
life
work.
training, putting in, I mean, those Olympic athletes, they train day
It's
and night to be the best in the
insane.
world and put on their fucking blood, sweat, and tears. And then all of it just comes to an end just because you allow some, hey, I think I'm a female now. Boom.
So and keep this in
Shattered.
mind. Keep this in mind. This is different because I can see people saying this, and I'm just throwing this out there just to negate it right off the bat. But think about when like NFL this past year, they added another week right to the regular season,
Mhm.
and you could say so many players like Jamar Chase, like people that were on the verge of breaking records, like I'm not breaking a record. But they're like, no, I got another game to do this, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not breaking a record. Now, keep in mind, the NFL also wasn't it went from whether we're like a 14 game season to a 16 to a 17, whatever it was. You have to take it in that point of history, and it's not that oh, this person's crushing records. We're just in a new era.
Yeah.
And we have to accept it for what it is. So I'm just trying to negate that off the bat, that we're talking two different things. If that ever came up, right? If this
Yeah.
video came out and people in the comments, whatever, the point is like
That's a completely
adding
different.
games to a season, or the
Is different.
NHL or NHL, the NL and the NL and MLB is adding the DH now. Like you're going to have to shift some ways of how you report out just by eras, and that's a lot easier to like collectively understand than I am a genetically built male competing with people that I'm normally faster, stronger, faster than, or stronger, bigger, faster, whatever. And the other side of it is the struggle. So my comparison is, a lot of people don't know this, but there's a professional women's softball league. Okay. And there's only 8 teams in it. And it's a struggle to get like a ton of televised games and stuff because you're kind of always playing the same people. There's not a lot of variety. So I understand that this transgender league is going to take some time to build some attendance in regards to just athletes. You know what I mean? But you got to start somewhere. And I think you're breaking some ground, but maybe the swimmer wants to be, I want to be the first person to found a transgender swimming league or whatever. Yeah, there's only going to be a handful of people, right? But if we really put the right effort behind it, we can maybe grow it and it could be something really popular and big.
I mean, yeah, I feel like they should do that now and not
Agreed.
just allow anyone in. Can you imagine just like, hey, we're sending the Lakers down to the WNBA? And just,
they need it right now, but they're really struggling.
They do, but I mean, that's legit what it's like.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Do you think
Let's
LeBron
say-
would feel good for fucking winning the championship, by the way?
Let's say Brock Lesnar
Probably be his
decided
top trophy.
he felt like a woman and they just went and beat the shit out of the heavyweight woman. Like, how wrong would that feel watching?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, where do you draw the line there? Because I mean, according to the guidelines and everything, and how socially acceptable things are, that's going to be his weight class, his new identity. You think any fucking woman would want to step up and challenge a big Brock Lesnar like that? Like, it's just not going to happen. And it
No.
would feel, and your initial reaction to whether you're transgender, you believe, whatever your beliefs are, your initial reaction is you're seeing a huge man beat the shit out of a woman. And that's just going to be what you see. But when identity comes across, well, he identifies as a woman, so we should treat it equally. No, Fuck no.
You can't.
You've seen a grown ass man whoop the hell out of a woman, and it's just not going to be accepted. I think something like that would be like a eye opening thing too. I mean, that's taking it to the extreme.
Yeah, but
So
that's where it's headed.
I really want to, and I wish I had this queued up, but there is and I think I'm trying to remember the host, but Anthony Mackie, who plays the Falcon in the Avengers, he was in an interview, and it was a predominantly female viewed show.
Go make daddy a sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that clip?
Oh yeah.
So as much.
Daddy a sandwich.
So I'm trying to tie like
sandwiches?
Gender rights. Yeah, I'm kind of hungry. Gender rights all together, right? So at the end of the day, we still have some roles that men play, some roles that women play, and there's going to be roles that transgender people play, right? Like it's okay to not everything has to be equal in regards to certain things. Like you want him to open the door, you want him to, defend you if someone steps up to you in a bar and like gives you shit, and like, okay, well, so then like you're gonna do this for me. It's more about finding a mutual understanding of like how we benefit each other, and we're both providing to the couple, right? So take that all full circle. Hey, is you bring that into this sporting world, right?
Yep.
I would love to say that you transitioning to a female is completely equal to being in a female league, but it's just not the case. And that's okay. It's okay to recognize that. And, I think we didn't have any plans in place. Nobody knew. This discussion should have happened probably years ago, but because it never did, this person wants to compete. Well, and this person wants to compete. They were like, well, we don't really have a backup plan. Like we can force them to compete in a male sport, which maybe they should have done, maybe not, but they didn't. There really was nothing prepared. No discussion that I can really foresee.
Typically they were competing him in the males and they weren't doing anything. And then
they hadn't transitioned yet though. And that kind of brings up a good point, I think, of like how much cooler would it be if somebody who was transitioning beat the guys, if they set the record, if they beat all the best in the world of the men and they're trans female, like that's something I feel like that's something to brag about.
Yeah,
I mean that would be true, huge,
but they were also middle of the pack before they started transitioning.
That's true. I mean,
would be an
not necessarily story. These guys. Yeah,
it would be quite the story, though. Tell you what,
but like a woman that transitioned to be a guy and then just breaks bench pressing records and stuff, like you just know that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
and it's not like a knock on women or we're superior, but it's just the way our bodies are and muscle tissue.
It's just our DNA.
Puberty in general, testosterone, like it's not in the cards, and that's just a fact.
No,
I can't carry a baby.
Natural nurturers, yeah,
exactly.
There's amazing things that women can do. Like you think about carrying and growing a human for 9+ months, like you literally can create a human that I can't do. Like,
yeah,
I know it's not a fun journey. Don't get me wrong. Like I know it's not a fun journey. It's like, oh yeah, we got it great. We get to, have all this changes to our body and all these hormones and blah blah blah. But like, there's also things a female body can do that we can't.
But you can't transition into a female and then be able to create a baby.
Yeah.
Well, true.
That's where
can't bear a child.
That's where the science comes into it. And it's just.
But what I'm saying is, it's okay to understand that we're different.
It's very okay to be different. Like, there's nobody. I think that's a misconception about anyone who is opposing any of this. I mean, they're probably out there, but I bet you it's such a small fucking factor that people actually give a shit that you want to transition or be someone else or be whatever you want to be. That's never the point. The point is when it turns into all this other stuff. Like if you want to do what you want to do, cool. Like do your thing. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what I do. Nobody cares what you guys do. it's when it's you know, do what you want to do. The problem comes in is when you go and you're just physically, you know, testosterone's been flowing through your body for 20, 30 years, and then you're like, no, I'm just gonna take some, you know, whatever hormone replacement stuff and lower your testosterone. That has already filled your entire body for 20 years. So
Well,
it's
see,
still in you, and you
just-
can't just get away from that. And it's still in you, and your bones are bigger, your bones are denser, and you're stronger. Your muscle mass just doesn't go away.
I'll disagree to an extent as far as like where you started that off. Of that's kind of your mentality. Like if someone decided that, like if Bug decided tomorrow, you know, he wanted to be a woman, like we wouldn't care because that's just kind of how we were raised. But a lot of people going through that and coming to the realization that that's kind of how they feel. They want to transition and become a woman. You know how much pressure they have telling their family members, and I mean their whole life is about to change.
Right.
Even to their friends, their employer, everything. Every single person they've ever met, they take into account because they're about to change. And
Yeah.
they've already felt that way the entire time. So that's gonna flip their world upside down. And not having a comfortable or not having the confidence, I guess, to do it. Like if you're just, let's say your dad is vocal about anti, he doesn't stand for it. I'll never have it. And you're stuck there knowing that fact, but you want to transition. Then it's just like I can't do it because I already know my dad's viewpoint on it, mom's viewpoint. And then you're stuck. And then what? You almost have to just do it. Either get them out of your life, which already sucks to have to try and do something like that, or just face it and see what happens.
Well, you're going to have to do those. You're going to just have to face it. That's all there is to it. I mean, there's
I
no
think-
easy route in life.
I think that I will never understand it. I'm going to preface it with that. I won't understand it. But what I do know is you can, unless you're trying to break the law or like commit a crime or something, and that's the decision you're trying to like figure out, like, okay, that's a different story. But if you're just trying to be who you feel you are, then, and I get it. There's a ton of people that, no, you were born a man, you were born a woman, you will be that, you will be this, or you won't be gay, you won't be a lesbian, whatever. Like, it sucks that those people exist, and it is what it is. And I think, unfortunately, just like everything, like you were saying earlier, P, like, you know, each decade, I believe we can get better. We can get more understanding. We can get more like broad-minded. But you got to take where we're at today, and you want to be a champion for growth and change and whatever, and help the next person out. Do you also want to be who you feel you are? Like, you're going to forever feel trapped, forever feel like you're living a lie. And unfortunately, if there's people in your life, and I'm sure we've all, like we talked about this last week, we've had to cut people out that were toxic. And sometimes it sucks. It sucks the worst when they're your family. And if you want to, it's so hard to see on day one, but I can almost assure you it's going to be 100 times better at the end of that road. And yeah, maybe dad fell out of your life. Maybe he eventually came around. Who knows? You don't know that till you try. Yeah. But you are going to have to sacrifice, unfortunately, that relationship that person is narrow-minded and can't understand, and go be you. And it sucks. It does. But like Brad said, you got to live your life. You got to do like what you got to be selfish, and that's okay. Like, it's okay.
Yeah. You have to do what you want.
But by all means, that is a concept. That is a challenging road that I will never understand.
I don't fully understand it.
That's where I have to be empathetic with it.
You know, I'll never fully understand. But there's a lot of people who don't fully understand what goes on in my life, or what views or dreams, shit that I have. But I don't expect everyone to understand. I just do shit because no one will understand. That's why they're your imagination, your ideas. You know, they're in your head. They're not in everyone else's head. So, like, it's up to you to do them, essentially. And
Yeah, but you're just probably less controversial.
True.
yeah, but
It's
I
a big
mean,
part
there's
of it.
still people who don't agree with my opinions. I guarantee there's gonna be so much hate for things that I say or I'm going to say or my viewpoints on stuff. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm still gonna say it because that's what I believe, and I'm a very curious person. I like to look at so many different angles and see different sides of stuff because I'm very curious and why people think a certain way and why, they're like, what's going on in their mind. And
But to P's point, and I will say this, to P's point, overall, and I could be wrong because I don't know everything that Brad you're thinking, Timbo you're thinking, Pete you're thinking, but you look at the echelon of like controversial topics and some of the hardest ones you have to like face and overcome. I still feel like, and I feel like I have some hard things I got to face. I got to power through. Like, I literally was having conversations with a family member tonight about some pretty big things that are probably going to be changing in my family dynamic. And it was like, hey, this is the best possible road we have to go. So to me, that's a very tough thing to have, conversation to have. Could be controversial, whatever. But in the tiers of like, and I'm not saying someone's problems are easier or harder than the others, but
no one's is though.
Those are some really
the hardest thing you've been through
really tough things.
Is the hardest thing you've been through.
Right.
To you, it's the hardest thing you've ever done. The hardest thing you've ever done. But to somebody else, they might have think differently, but they've been through the hardest thing you've ever done is just the hardest thing that they've ever went through. Like nobody can really judge either side of it because it's their shoes and their life and somebody else's. I mean,
me stubbing my toe may impact me more than Brad, you stubbing your toe. I always say that it's like one of the simplest things to think about, but like just because we both stubbed our toe doesn't mean it didn't impact us the same way.
Yeah. Different.
So,
and what's so tell me, I mean, there's probably big differences, whatnot, but like, okay, so, your family expects you to go be a doctor and you have to be a doctor. They're going to send you to school and they're going to be so disappointed when you don't want to. How many people don't become doctors and do something else?
Mm-hmm.
Like how often does that happen? Or jobs or, your dad wants you to play football so fucking bad and then you don't. And then you go and play tennis or, chess or whatever. Like there's disappointments all in life and there's battles you're going to have forever. So I know what I say is very controversial and I'm open to hearing a lot of different shit, but just hear me out. Like my biggest thing about it, I'm very open about things. I would love to hear shit, but where's the line? Like, where's the line that's too much, too less? Like because there has to be a line, has to be drawn somewhere. I mean, between science, between like English language, to, competitive athletes, like where's the line that is being drawn and where does it have to be drawn at is what I'm very curious about.
It's a moving line. I'm gonna be like a cop-out answer here, but I feel that because 10 years from now, the dynamic of our environments, our cultures are going to change. I think that line can't stay stagnant. It's going to be a moving line. Like you want to put a line in the sand and like you're never going to budge, you're never going to, move past that, then you're not evolving. Yep. I think it's okay that moves. And in that point of time, to your point, Brad, in a specific point in time, all things considered, yeah, there does have to be a line drawn. You can't just let everybody go fucking hog wild, right? But there has to be a line. But also understand that like things are going to change. So hypothetically, people transitioning from male to female, female to male. Hypothetically, science comes up with a way to neutralize the effects of like all of your puberty you went through, all these other things to kind of, if you were to be at the point of birth born genetically as the gender you're trying to be,
take away a chromosome.
We can put you back to where you would be. I'm like talking X, crazy Y. Shit, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but like if we could say hey, take this pill once a month for 2 years and you're going to be like, you want to be a female, this is the bone structure, the muscle structure, the everything you would have at this point in your life if you were actually born genetically as that gender. Then that's a whole nother topic, right?
Yeah.
That's this swimmer. This swimmer goes through that. Go right ahead. Compete as a female.
That almost crosses the boundary of like playing God in a sense.
Also true.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Like you're,
Well, we already kind of do that. We already do that.
Well, we're like clowns, buddy.
The angry cat that made $200 million on social media that passed away. They could have cloned that cat. They could have made the same freaking cat.
Yeah, they could have.
Genetically speaking.
They could. I mean, there's definitely shit, but I mean, there's just so many gray areas. So
that's why that line is hard to really figure out.
It is, but I mean, if you don't have any rules, any lines, anything, like the world's chaos. Like there has to be some sort of something. There has to be rules, and I'm not saying like there has to be certain like smack dab and I'm the person to fucking say the rules. I'm not. I'm just saying there has to be some.
Well, think about the line that was in the sand back in the Declaration of Independence, where our country was founded on. Slavery was A-okay. And that's the line they drew.
But none of this is fucking with science or anything like that. And
But I mean, try and relate to it. Try and make the two comparable. Say in a sense.
we didn't have to have a line about transgender athletics, however many years ago, fairly recently, right? Well, now I think the four of us agree the line should be if you're a male transitioning to be a female, then you go play transgender female athletics. And if you are a female transitioning to be a male, it's going to be very hard for you to compete in the male sports world. So there should be a transgender male. So that line that used to be here, shifted over here. But I agree. I'm trying to agree with both of you. You're like in these corner of my screens, but I agree. There has to be lines. There has to be rules. But as the world evolves and changes, we have to relook at those rules because
I agree 100%.
And that's where I'm agreeing with you, Brad. Like I don't want people going hog wild, and we have the purge, and we have all this kind of like crazy shit going on. We have some rules.
That's what I just see happening, or I mean, just take everything away. There's no anything, man, woman. There's nothing. There's nothing.
See,
there's no man, there's no woman, there's no he, she, there's nothing. It's everyone for everyone, and everyone's equal, and everyone competes in whatever fucking league they want to, and they can identify as whatever the fuck they want to. But you know what then? There's no leagues, there's no, men league, women league, there's no men and women at all. Everyone's just people. Okay, then what? Like, is that going to cause a riot? Like, is all sports going to be one-sided?
Everybody happy.
There's not.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I go extreme possible. Like that.
And the worst part about it is I feel like this type of stuff is progressing and happening just because technology is different. So it allows you to voice your opinion and for everyone to see. For all we know, the same shit was happening 30 years ago, but it wasn't available for everyone to clip, notice, hear, like all that shit. And now that it is, it changes the game, but we have to adapt with it, good and bad.
Yeah.
And
you have to evolve in life, always. Otherwise, you'll never progress. I mean, that's a very big principle. You're fucking 100% on that. But how do we move forward? What we're doing now isn't working.
Yeah, but that's why it's almost like growing
trial
pains.
And error.
You're going to fail.
And with each decision you make, you're going to piss someone else off. Like P, you said, you're not going to make everybody happy. But you go into it knowing that, like, there's,
yeah. So here's my other thing that what I think is going to happen is, the metaverse will come out. I mean, it's kind of out, but more and more people start to use it. They'll integrate, Zoom calls. Everyone will just put on some shades and zoom in, or not Discord calls. Everyone will just go into the meeting room, right? And there you can pick avatars. You can pick whatever you want to be. You can be a gorilla. You could be, the guy from Halo, whatever you want to be. And I think that will solve a lot of problems. I think that will push away how a lot of people are feeling and what they want to be, what they can be, what they are born as. The problem is they'll probably live inside said metaverse, but I think that is a very, very, very big possibility of where we're headed. Thoughts? Man, I was coming in way too hot.
I just sent you guys a text.
I didn't know I
got
dropped a bomb.
I gotta let you, Timbo or P.
I think I need a little elaboration on how that's gonna compete with transgender athletes competing right now.
Wait, what? Say that one more time.
Oh, I'm curious what you mean by that. Like, this is just going to bring us towards the metaverse. How is that?
So, how about this? How about we take a 5-minute break? Let our brains
gather our thoughts,
marinate.
That's cool.
And come back to that.
All right, boom.
Okay.
Yeah, imagine dragons.
Dragging these nuts.
Dragging these nuts, all right? If you say you have fire breath or dragon breath, does that mean you have a fire conversation?
Oh,
that should be that's a new saying, yeah.
I'm proud and disappointed at the same time.
You're welcome.
With that joke.
I'm not really speechless. I'm just kind of like
befuddled.
So here's the thing: if I would have said that,
there would have been a different reaction.
I have a dynamic about myself, and I could be building this up, but that there are a lot of things I will say that my wife will say 2 days later, and she thinks it's fucking hilarious. And I'm like, if I would have said that, and I get all like fucking hot and bothered, and she's like, "Oh yeah, it's just funnier when I say it." I'm like, "Yeah, probably," but
yeah, you're right.
To each their own.
Well, if I had a drum set next to me, I would have hit it, buddy. Don't you worry. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we can always transition back to our topic.
Boys.
Well, only your wife said it'd be funnier.
All right, where did we live off then?
You hit us with the metaverse.
Yeah, that's what I think. And
Timbo was diving into it.
Timbo says he wonders how sports are involved. So, at that point, it's going to be video game sports or Olympics or whatever.
I've actually watched.
I don't know if they'll do Olympics on fucking metaverse. I'm just talking about in general.
Have you guys? And I could be misunderstanding what you're coming from, but have you guys ever? Did you guys ever watch the show Catfish or are familiar with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my wife and I watched it when it first came out. Actually, he came to where we're from, and I actually got to meet him. But then I hadn't watched it forever, and watched it like the latest season, which was during COVID. And there was someone who met in what I believe was the metaverse. Like they picked their avatar, they picked who they were, who they wanted to be, and they fell in love with this person. But like they both only knew each other as avatars. So it's like not really catfishing, but
I was like catfishing.
That's going to be a thing though.
But I'm not going to get into the whole episode because it turned out, I don't want to spoil alert.
Yeah, thank God.
God damn bug.
That's
Pins and needles.
But
we love Kevin.
Like that's already like here, I had no idea. Here. I had no idea.
I mean, it's early stage, but yeah, it's here. But I'm just saying, like, there's not gonna be like Olympics or like competitive sports shit when it has to do with physical attributes. I was just purely talking about like people identifying or choosing what they want to be, who they want to be. They choose an avatar and a username, and then they be what they want to be.
But if they fall for someone, they have to meet at some point, and you have to.
Well, then they don't care because love trumps all. Bug.
No.
Oh, they're gonna care that the other person's not what they said they were.
Maybe they're just into that. Maybe they're into the whole.
Like right there, just spinning all the way around.
I'm confused why your head is turning into an owl.
Fully expect your legs to be in the air. I'm like,
Are you actually an owl and you're not being honest with who you are?
Oh,
Oh, you little sassy queen, you.
way to throw a
Who
curveball.
are you? Ooh. How many licks does it take, huh?
Anyways,
Hello.
well, until you hit the popsicle stick button, then you're gonna be
And
gagging.
then you gag and you're creeped out. Thanks for
And I
bringing
get
that
my
back,
towel and it
Isaac.
just
Oh yeah, and then all of a sudden we're all gagging.
Yeah. I will say, if you guys puke, I will probably puke. I'm not about that.
so listen.
I'll just be sitting here laughing at all you guys gagging and puking.
I'm gagging over a popsicle stick, which I then towel whip P and set him off. And then you and I start throwing up, which triggers Brad. What happens to Timbo? He's just like
points
this with
and
his pinky
laughs.
out.
He's
Exactly.
like,
I'll
I'm
just
a
be sitting here
man.
like, this is fucking great.
You bunch of
I
nads.
don't even have to pay for this.
Listen, I wouldn't puke if I saw it, but if it was in real life, son. All right, well, trans. So
It doesn't just like poking it in there.
I know. So metaverse, do you guys not think that will be a thing, or
I think it will, but like
you said
I
you have
guess
to
there
meet up
are
in real
people-
life, but
I'm saying if they do, but I do understand that is enough for some people. I do understand that is enough
Yeah.
for some people.
okay, spin it this way. New perspective. So I mean, you're online, thinking one thing, whatever, blah blah blah, and then you find out they're another. What if a dude transitions to a girl, a dude starts dating him, blah blah blah, thinks there's something, but then they don't have any of the original female parts.
Yeah,
is
that's-
that the same thing? Like, you can't have kids, you can't,
I think that
penis.
I think my take. I don't know why. So here's my take on it. All right, I don't care what there's stages of relationships, right?
Yeah.
When you go on a first date, you don't tell them that you were like, oh, I just got locked out. I was in prison for 20 years. Like, there's certain things that you have to get to know someone. You have to have a stage. You have to have a trust built to reveal certain things about you. However, when it gets to certain points in a relationship and maybe becomes intimate or romantic, you may see yourself as you transitioned and you've had all these surgeries and whatever, and you truly feel like I am truly who I say I am. But like, there is still an element that you used to be someone or something else.
Uh-huh.
And I do honestly believe that that's a conversation that has to be had. And some people are going to accept it because it means absolutely nothing. It does not matter. Doesn't affect them. And some people's like, okay, well, I'm glad you told me and you were honest with me. But to hide that is like hiding another secret in your life. Take gender out of it. Like, I'm in crippling financial debt, but we're getting married tomorrow, and you're gonna assume that, right? There's a point of why it's so huge on communication and honesty.
Yeah, but
That's what.
I guess
Outside
my
of
point is,
finances,
I've seen catfish, and all of them, when they meet them in real life and they're not the same as the picture, they say peace every
Not all the
time,
time.
even if they're
Majority.
most of the time. Okay, most of the time.
99%.
Catfish super fan. Don't blow any
Yeah,
episodes.
come on, spoiler alert, guy.
No, okay. Hey,
But what I'm saying is they might be okay with them,
they could.
but they are not okay with still dating them or pursuing that because it wasn't them,
They were, yeah.
right?
That's okay.
And it is
It's okay,
okay.
it's okay to
But people are
think-
very resilient or resistant.
resist.
Resistant. I said that. That's what I said. What'd you say? What'd you say?
I said resistant.
I
but
said,
What'd you
I
fuck it
said
up?
resistant. What'd you
said
say,
both
dude?
phones, damn it.
You covered all your tracks, but
What'd you say? Resilient, idiot.
I'll stand
What
by
a
it. That
loser.
it doesn't matter if you lie about, like,
Ooh.
some things just trigger people. Like, you don't know what their past was. You tell me that you are
fuck no.
financially stable, and that could mean a lot to someone. Like I hate to say it, like money isn't everything, but it does. And that's one of the number one reason. That is the number one reason for divorce is finances.
Shallow girls.
And I'm saying, like, if you come in and be like, oh, like I'll take care of you, like you're gonna live in this, like,
jokes. Go on.
I know it's shallow and I know it's not everything, but like if you paint this picture like, oh yeah, we're gonna be comfortable, like you never have to work, you're gonna be fine, and then you come up and you're like, yo, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, it's a struggle, I need you to get a job and help. Well, that's not what I was expecting, right?
Yeah,
I'm not saying that that's right, but I'm telling you, like,
I feel like you have the right to be upset or opt out when something like that happens, because it was built up to you and perceived one way, and then it gets flipped on you. Then it's just like a whole, you're not exactly who I thought you were. This is
what else could you be lying to me about?
Yeah, exactly.
The whole relationship is just based on a lie. It started with a lie.
Could you lemon lie in a relationship? Foundation. Is that a thing? Could it be a thing?
What'd you say? Lemon law?
Lemon law. Like, when you have like a certain amount of time to take your car back, this is a lemon.
An annulment.
Yeah.
Olive juice.
Touche.
You too, buddy. Gotcha.
But I mean, in like,
lemon and no.
I mean,
Leno.
Here's where we don't try to recreate the Wheel Boys.
No, man.
Not bad.
Yeah, no, I think it's unfortunate. Like, okay, this is where you're gonna really make fun of me, all right? And that's fine. I'm already signed up for it. I recently watched a show with my wife, and it was the second season of. Yeah, no, it was called Love Is Blind. Love Is Blind.
I've seen it. God damn it.
Okay.
An episode or two.
I didn't really watch the first season, but I watched every second of the second season. And unfortunately, the concept is great. And it did work out for, like, I think one couple in the first season. And I think a couple in the second, regardless. Like, you can love the entire being of someone, like who they're about, what they're about, their passions, their interests, and whatever. Huh? But I also love, like, my best friend. I love what he's into. Like he's like, I love the sports you're into, the topics you're into. We're very passionate about similar things and everything. But like, I'm not physically attracted to him, and there's still an element to that. And unfortunately, like, there are cases in that show where it has worked out. But then there's plenty of cases where it hasn't. And it's okay, because you still have to have a level of attraction. And it's not shallow.
You have to.
Like, there
Those are facts.
You could look at someone and say, oh, you only like tall, dark, and handsome. But then you could still fall in love with someone who isn't that, but is still an attractive being. It's just maybe not who you thought you wanted to marry, right? So... Right. But at the end of the day, you still have to have some level of attraction to, like, kind of spark other elements of it. But the good thing is you already know you like the person they are.
But if you're not attracted, it never works.
Agreed.
Those are just simple facts. It
it's
just
fine.
Is what it is. There has to be. That's why other people get friend zone all the time. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it sucks, but we, guys do it, girls do it. Both sides do it. A lot.
It's typical.
You guys are just more open about it. But I mean, that's why dudes can be friends, because we're not attracted or looking like to smooch on you. We're just like, hey, we enjoy your company no matter what. It doesn't matter. But if we're looking for another mate, like, they have to reach an attraction or whatever, because you're actually pursuing that kind of thing. I mean, it just is what it is.
It's the whole difference in, like, loving your family and falling in love with, like, someone who you seek as a partner. Like, that love is there, and you appreciate, every little bit about this person, and you would do crazy things for them, but you're not in love. Yeah, like, fucking love everything about Brad. He's a good guy. I'm not gonna go over there and fuck him.
This fucking guy.
Yeah,
It's
see?
like there's difference. Like there's a difference there. And it shows like that you could find somebody that you relate to
Mhm.
and you almost view them kind of like as a brother or sister type of feeling.
Yeah.
And
But
that's
it's
gonna
not
happen.
pursuable though for your mate. This is what
And I
it
think
is
it's
because you're going
okay.
to reproduce.
And it's coming all back to this, like, you weren't honest with me, that you were like, I'm not saying like, hi, my name is, your name is, oh, and I'm transgender. Like, that's not how it
Right.
goes. That's why I was saying there's stages to it. And if it's getting serious and you trust this person, you're comfortable with them, and you open up to them, yeah, you might get hurt. And they might say, peace. Or they'd be like, hey, you know what? I care about you so much, and I'm already attracted to you because, like, I'm assuming they're dating in person. It's not like a Love Is Blind thing.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's a little bit of some structural changes that have taken place, but I'm at least willing to try it. And I guarantee you there's cases of that in this world.
Oh, I'm sure.
yeah.
But
Absolutely.
for other people that are like, okay, hey, I appreciate your honesty. I don't want to hurt you, but it's just not what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
I understand that side of it too. And I think it's perfectly fine.
And that simple fact could be, what makes it not happen. I mean, let's just say you decide to come out and you're nervous about it. You tell them, I was a man, now I'm a woman. And then it's just like, okay, well, that's a deal breaker for me. I just simply.
But people can't get
cannot-
upset about that though.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, that doesn't mean you can't have like a friendship there for it, but
No.
that's not what the whole foundation of what the other person like started it. Like the intentions from the get-go were to be dating and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
And if their
it just
values
changes
are
the
to have
whole
a
dynamic of
family
it.
and they want to have their offspring and not adopt or whatever, like that's their decision and they can do that, and the other person can't be upset about it. That's
So it's
my
almost
Be
opinion.
upset. They could be upset that it didn't work out. Like,
Yeah, you
it's
can
like
be
a
upset
breakup,
that
right? That's
fucking a
fine.
model doesn't want to date you, but like in the end, like you can't be mad at them or
I would
it's
be
almost
quite
like
upset.
it's almost like you kind of have to lead off with it then, like with that information.
You might have to.
Not
But-
maybe bluntly, but
Not like day one,
for your
'cause
own
maybe the
good,
first date sucks
probably.
ass, and you're like, this ain't going anywhere. Or you give it a couple dates. What I'm saying is, give it a couple dates, and you're like, there's no chemistry, there's no whatever. Okay, save your headaches, whatever. Save that conversation. But like,
yeah,
oh man, like we've had a couple dates, and I've been out of the dating scene for a while, so I don't know. Like, for me personally, if I would be like 2 dates in, 3 dates in, 4 dates in, really, really like, damn, I got to come clean on some stuff because like I really like this person. I want it to be real. Like, I don't know that. I don't know the stage. I'm just saying there is a process or progress that needs to be made.
I
that's where
think for it to work, like legitimately work for said person. I mean, this is just in my mind facts. Like you have to be open first day, first second, like transparent, because I mean, this for yourself. You either let the other person decide, and if they're cool with it, cool. If not, but if you're gonna tear yourself down by building up your own emotions and theirs, and then dropping it on the bomb on them, and then they not okay with it over and over, then you're gonna hate yourself.
Isn't that something? And like I said, I know this is going to show my age, but like dating apps weren't like massive when I was in college. That's when I met my wife. And so I know the context of what's that?
On Tinder?
No, in person.
I thought
no,
so
but
they
I don't know.
weren't massive, but I still did. Okay.
Oh yeah, like Tinder and like those, whatever, eHarmony, whatever the like dating sites are. I'm sure
Farmers
there's
only.
probably sections where you can put like, I am transgender, right? So like if someone is okay with that and
like
they
in your
swipe
bio.
left, it's in your bio. You knock that out right
I'm
away.
sure you can.
Yeah, but I'm sure other people aren't comfortable with that. But to your guys' point, I can see we're like, hey, just getting that off the table, that as a concern off the table right off the bat, and you swipe right at me or left, whatever, and you already know that. Okay, I already know that that's not a factor to them unless they don't know how to read.
You have saved yourself so much hassle and heartbreak, like emotional damage. Just let's just say you fucking. I mean, if you don't come out that right off the bat and you meet this person, because it's not a dating app or anything. You bump into them in a grocery store, whatever, and you guys are just hitting it off, and this is the person, like, oh my gosh, you love this person, but you know that you have this huge secret. I mean, it is a secret at that point.
I thought, okay, go on.
I know that's what you're thinking about, buddy. But anyways, but you have that weight, and it's going to prolong you from telling them, because you don't want that moment to end, and you don't want the way they're looking at you to be changed, because you like the way they look at you.
Yeah.
You know it's going to change it, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, no matter,
So-
there's no getting around it. It's inevitable. You have to drop the bomb, and it will change.
At that point, I feel like it
100%.
becomes selfish in the opposite terms. Like, it's selfish that you're not telling them, because you enjoy the feeling that you're getting from them.
100%.
Very selfish. And
100%.
Agreed.
I mean, you know, people are
it just
people, and
has
they're
to be
going to feel how they feel. And if they're not about it, they're not about it. So might as well just, you know, do everyone like the common courtesy, just to like throw it out there. I mean, you don't have to do anything, but I think in the long run, it'll help yourself and the other people just to know, because people are who they are, and they're going to either be okay with it or they're not. So might as well just throw it out there. Because if you, like people saying, if you don't want to deal with a bunch of heartbreak and heartache and, you know, ups and downs and highs and lows and go through the same thing over and over, then you're going to have to, in my mind.
I feel like a lot of people might not have that same mentality, though, of like people are just going to, they got their opinion, deal with it. You know, putting that shit out there for them, that's just going to bring hate. And that's,
Yeah.
I think what they're afraid of, and why they don't just, you know, put a label out there and say, I am trans.
Yeah.
yeah,
But,
I mean,
yeah, it's tough. Like I feel for them, man. It's it's hard. They get a lot of hate for just being who they are, and I agree with. I mean,
It's not
everything
easy
we've
spot.
said tonight is
Well,
It's
I
not
mean-
easy at all. 100%.
in the same kind of realm, like I grew up my whole life with a couple gay family members, so I watched that whole before, during, after process. So like I'm very sensible to it, because it's very relatable, and so I can see the build up, and I can see the behind the scenes type of thing, and I can see what it does to the person. And in the same, you know, it's a very similar realm, so I can apply sensibilities to it and empathy to it, and understand why they won't, you know, just come out and say it.
Yeah.
Tie it back to what we were talking about before, where you have the struggle of a parent or someone who's so resistant to, you know, being gay or being whatever, transgender. Like that hurdle you got to jump over is it's probably not the same in the dating world. I think it's maybe like 1B or, you know, 2, you know, in the totem pole, but that's got to be so hard, you know. But it's one of those things. You just got to own it. You gotta power through and find a way. Like, look, if they're gonna care, if they want to love me for me, then they got to know who me is, and you know that's a huge step of it. So
it was very hard for my older brother's gay, and my dad. If you ever met him, he's a
big dude.
He whooped Brad's dad's ass.
Fat.
We have a very similar personality. So like just open, joking. I get my sense of humor from him, which sucks. I fucking hate him for it.
It's not bad. I fucking laugh at your dad.
But my dad
Makes
is
me
just
laugh.
like the most receptive and open person. Like he's the least intimidating person to have to come out of the closet to. And my brother's terrified to do it. And it was just, I was there the moment that it happened. And it was just like he was that afraid to do it, to come out to my dad, who he knew was going to be completely okay with. But it was just a almost like a disappointment type of feeling that he felt like he was going to receive from it. And I'll even tell the little brief story, but they ended up like getting in an argument or whatever, and my brother had already told me at this point, but he just shouts out to my dad. He's like, "Do you even know I'm gay?" And that's how he broke the ice to my dad.
Wow.
My dad just yells back, "Of course I know you're gay." But it was just like a huge emotional thing, and then they ended up just hugging, and I left the room, a bit too gay for
Oh my God!
No, but it was
He's
just
allowed
like,
to say he's got a gay brother. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, guys. Okay, calm down.
It's okay, guys. Coach Klein said it was okay. But no, it was just like that whole. So like I can kind of see like how it would be different, because I mean that's like, I mean, being gay and whatnot is still kind of in the same realm of like playing God and all this stuff. Like religion ties into it, but to like change your identity is a whole different.
It's the next tier.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like one up. You one upped him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
and I'm sure it's tough, and you got to be who you are, and I think that's what it boils down to, is just being true to yourself, but not to take away like how tough it would be or anything like that, but I feel like that's something everyone has to do, be true to themselves, and pursue their dreams or whatever they want to do. I mean, I feel like you can apply that in a lot of different ways, and I'm sure it's fucking tough, and that's something I will never know, but and I won't have to go through, but I mean, you can have like empathy for that, but to fully understand, I don't think you will fully understand unless you go through it, or you're next to someone who is going through it, like you and your
So I was
brother.
gonna say,
You can see the struggles and stuff.
I honestly don't think that I would have the same outlook on it if I had not been around it and watched the steps develop. I'd probably view it differently. And
Sure.
myself now, I don't see how I could view it differently, because it's just such a normal part of my life. It's like a family member, a couple family members that I've seen that. And so I just naturally have that ability to be able to see it from their eyes, because I was the first one that he came out to, so I knew how big of a deal it was for him. And it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of happy that it happened. And to see where he went from, like his depression and bottling it up, to now he's just openly, oh, that's me. To be able to see that and how much it changed him is like you're very happy. You're very happy that he was able to do that, because I mean he went through low points in his life where he didn't feel like he could do that, and especially growing up in the town that we live in, it was very not acceptable. So when he moved away and basically surrounded himself in more understanding company, then it was just like that's like when his life started, in a sense.
Well, it's good though. I mean, everyone kind of needs that. Everyone needs good friends, good friendships, good people to be around, people who understand you. With that being said, we're in such a weird time and a weird state for all this. Like you're saying earlier, it's all so new on transitioning or whatever. I feel like it's the early points of like same thing, like people coming out. But again, like this is something that we're gonna have to take deep thought into. It's not just like, hey, okay, well, you like other dudes or other females. Like it's not that. Like when you bring all these other aspects into it, if they wanted to compete and stuff, they're still the same people. They're just open about it. It brings in a whole new aspect of everything. And I feel like there's a lot of gray areas that get brought in when you bring in, sports, male and female, there's different divisions, and say what you want about, a woman could punch a man and go to jail, like that's a thing. And that happens. Like, I don't think the law sees it other way, but in like society, like if, dude beats up on a girl, it's a big thing, like just whatever way, at least, in my eyes, in my world, how I grew up, like, if you start whooping on a girl, then it ain't going to be good for you.
Right.
So it brings a whole aspect. I don't know the right move, the right everything for that, but I think the best way would probably be to, get a different division, Bug, like you were saying earlier on special, Olympics have one, like men have their division, female, like there's different things. I feel like that could be a thing. I feel like that would be the only way it would ever work.
But I think it all has to go like through due process, and there's going to be majority votes.
And there'll be a lot of trial and error.
Yeah,
will not happen overnight.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to take a long time. There's going to be a lot of hurt feelings, and there's going to be a lot of
broken records.
In those, yeah, that's for sure. But in those moments, like, you get individuals who will stand up and kind of shift the scales. I mean, you see history. There's, Martin Luther King type of people, who are going to be a huge symbol for what they believe in and help, transition it in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
there will be, I guarantee there always is. There's always the first ones, but in the meantime, what do we do about like people going to the UFC? Like the dude transitioned and he went and fucked up a bunch of girls, fucking Cyborg. Like, do you put a stop to that? Or do you let it happen? Like in the meantime, I know we're going to go through trial and error and stuff, but I feel like there's some things that need to be said. Because I don't feel like that's okay.
Hit it, Bug.
So I think that the struggle with this is, it's going to have to go through due process. It's going to have some, issues and whatever. Like, yes. But think about any. I'm going to go this route with it, and I think this is going to make sense. Think about any sport, any league, any organization that someone said, I want to start this club about this, or I want to take this leather mitt and throw this ball and someone hits it and like whatever. Did it start with the following that it has today or the participants that it has today?
No. Everything grows.
Everything grows, right? So
yes.
What sucks for the transgender community is if everybody across the world said, we just need a transgender league for this sport, that sport, this, that, and the other. Great. We all agree. Perfect. Let's start pulling that together. The downside and what sucks for those who are transgender today is you're going to be one of the few helping build that up, right? In 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now, it could be massive. And there's tons of teams, tons of competition, tons of events, and tons of this, that, the other. But everything has to start somewhere. I think that's going to be one of the biggest headaches is, well, this swimmer didn't have a league that they could go and jump to, and they refused to swim against men because I don't identify as a man.
Right.
Okay, that's fair. And you want to respect that person's wishes and beliefs. Okay, well, then you either compete with the men for now until we get this league up and running, or...
you might have to. Otherwise, all the women's records are going to get shattered.
Exactly. So I think
the dudes won't, but the women's will, which is shitty.
Agreed. But I think that's what it all comes down to is like, you just have to understand that anytime that line in the sand that we were talking about starts to have to shift, and we have to start to think a little differently and start to understand our world's evolving and changing because there's new elements to our environment.
Yeah.
That
you have to.
We have to evolve.
Yes.
It's unfortunate that it doesn't happen overnight, but it sucks. But you could be the first. You could be the first to do this, the first to do that. And then when, our great grandkids are looking back and studying the first, transgender baseball league or whatever. I don't know.
Mhm.
They could say, wow, I was related to so-and-so who helped found that and get it going and
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it. To your
But you
point,
got to be
Brad.
willing to go through the growing pain, just like anything else. You try to build
100%.
a YouTube channel, you try to build a business, you try to do anything in life, you try to go sales. Like you have to start it somewhere, and you have to go through the grind, just like everyone else. My my little worry on this, and it's take it for what it is. But so say all these leagues start up, and and it's going smooth, and everyone has a good time. Nobody watches it because they just don't want to. Like, I would have a problem at that point. Like, you can't just make everyone do whatever they don't want to do. I'm not saying it would, but, there's a lot of cancel culture shit, and you can't do this, you can't say that, or let's, support all this stuff, which is fine. But it makes it unfair to everyone else who's actually grinding and making something for themselves and not, doing something. Like, if they like what they want to watch, they're going to watch it no matter what anyone thinks. You could scroll through TikTok, on YouTube, search whatever you want to watch. You can go down whatever rabbit hole you want to go down, and it will be there, but that's on you to watch it. There's not anyone forcing your hand on what to watch. That's kind of my take on that. I just think I'm totally into fair shit. I love fairness. I feel like everything should be fair. Everyone should get an equal shot. So with that being said, like, if, just because you think your YouTube channel is the best doesn't mean anyone's going to watch it or anyone's going to give a fuck about it. So, and that applies to everything else in life. If there's some transgender baseball league that, is going smooth and stuff, but nobody watches it, that's too bad. Nobody watches, the AFL or Arena Football League. Like, people don't watch that shit. People don't watch fucking Europe football or Canadian football. Stinks. It just is what it is. Like, and that's, the American dream. And, when you start fucking with shit like that, I'm all into fair. Like, I guess what I'm really trying to say.
I guess going along those lines, I think it's more of a sense of normalcy for, that particular situation for, people transitioning or what have you. It's like they don't know exactly where normal is because they haven't experienced normal, but I'm sure
it's a growing pain.
Crave.
Nobody thought the internet was going to be what it is, and now look at it. If you don't have an iPhone in your pocket and you're a grandma using your landline, like, you're behind the times and you're left in the dust.
Well, I mean, just think of it this way, like, just regular boy girl straight gay type of thing. It's just like there's a norm. Everything says
there will always be a norm, though.
Yeah, but the people that are outside of the norm need to find their way to have that same thing, that same feeling fulfilled. Because you're a straight man. How easy is it for you to fit in? You don't have to struggle with fitting in or having a sense of normalcy. True. That's just been, it's just been part of your life. That's not even a thought that crosses your mind.
Yeah.
But when you're an outsider looking in and you're different, you would crave that feeling. You would crave that feeling of normalcy.
Yeah, but that's where people find communities.
Yeah, I mean,
like, we're all kind of fucking gamers, and we all love, Twitch and whatnot. Like, we went on Twitch and we found, each other and whatnot, and that's, what it is. And there's people who probably don't understand that. Like, oh, these guys like to watch people play video games. Like, people don't understand that, and I don't care that they understand that or not. Like, that's just something, sometimes I enjoy to do, and I like to play video games, and there's people who look down upon that or whatever. Like, oh, motherfucker, you're 32 goddamn years old. What are you fucking doing?
But that's so much I don't care. To understand. That's so much easier to understand than trying to find a sense of normalcy and humanity. Like, those are hobbies, and people that don't agree with your hobbies and what you enjoy doing, but like just in a social setting to try and you have to like find yourself first that way before you can then go on and live a normal life in a sense.
I see what you're saying, but again, like, if you find will community with the same people, with the same like-minded. I mean, maybe you can't go out to the bar, but I can't go out to the bar and find a bunch of people who play video games. Maybe, but maybe not. Or find a bunch of chess players at the bar. Like, that's just, that's just personal struggles and something people are going to have to go through. I mean, there's no other way to say anything around it. Like, life's going to be tough. No matter what you're going to go through. Some people lose family members. Some people have super addictions. I mean, some people, do a lot of fucked up shit or whatever. Can't feel empathy or get, Alzheimer's, whatever the case is. Like, life sucks at certain points in time. And so, everything is going to be bad. It's just how you're going to push through it. And, I mean, it can't, everything's different. We're all different. And maybe, maybe I'm being small-minded right now, but like for me, I put a lot of things together and I feel like they all make sense in their own way.
I wouldn't say small-minded, but I feel like, I guess in a sense, like almost a privileged, because you start off in an acceptable spot. So your challenges are different than somebody who's going to have to go through,
I mean, is growing up poor acceptable?
Well, I mean, imagine
not to a lot of people. It's not.
No.
A lot of people look fucking down on you like you're a pile of shit.
Well, what if you're
like, to me, that's
but at the same time, like
it's not acceptable,
grew up, poor, straight white man, but then at the same time you grew up poor, transitioning gay person. Like, there's not a equal starting.
No,
I think,
but that's not fair though.
Let me try to tie these ideas together, because I can see where this is going, and I think in theory it would be nice to say that if this is your struggle, it's the hardest. If this is your struggle, it's the second hardest. This is your struggle, it's the third hardest. However, and I get, so P, what I think you're trying to say is, just call it statistics or whatever, on average, someone trying to power through their life and transition and be respected and known for who they are or whatever, on average, that's probably a lot harder than someone trying to get a promotion. Right? However, the other side of it, and maybe Brad, where you're coming from, I'll go back to my example. Person A is trying to transition. Person B is trying to transition. This has super supportive parents, lives in an area, a community where it's like, hey, be you, be you, be you. It's great. And this person has unsupportive parents, super conservative, like not open-minded, can't understand change. It is what it is. You're born how you're born, so on and so forth. And you live in a community that all believes that too. They are not going to have the same experience in their path. However, in general, on average, these people would probably be deemed as having a harder time in their challenge than someone trying to retire early or whatever. And I'm terrible examples, but it goes back to stubbing my toe thing. Like, just because two people experience the same thing doesn't mean it affects them the same way. However, like, you try to compare stubbing your toe versus getting a concussion or losing an arm or being paralyzed for the rest of your life. You could probably try to say, like, stubbing the toe is going to be down here, paralyzed is going to be up here. Yeah. So try to think of it that way. Yeah. Just because the same thing happened to two people doesn't mean they experience it the same way. However, to P's point, you could probably try to socialize and put in humanity that this is going to be a little higher on the pyramid than maybe some other people's struggles, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't. That doesn't mean you can't just discard. You lost someone close to you or whatever. Does that make sense? Does that kind of line it up in a way that it make
I felt like your analogies and everything actually strangely tied in and actually made sense.
Stubbing toes.
You need to quit stubbing your goddamn toes.
Yeah, wear some shoes, goddammit. Jesus Christ.
My big toe is about as big as my baby toe now because of how many times
Hello,
Got some
Fred
mangled feet.
Flintstone.
Jesus,
Here, wanna see my
flat,
feet?
you got flat
Hell
feet?
no! Get those out of there.
You got flat feet?
But that's the best way I can explain it is like, yeah, we both got in a car accident. That doesn't mean it happened the same way, the same damage, whatever,
Mhm.
but you can still semi relate to like certain things in general are
Yeah.
harder than others. Like, I don't know,
yes.
raising a
Yes.
child versus a hamster, two different
I
things.
guess I'm a little. I mean, I'll fully admit that I'm kind of biased when it comes to this particular topic, is because like I said, I watched what it took for my brother to get to the level that I didn't have to get to that level. I was there at that level, and I started at that level, but he had to work his ass off and go through tough shit just to get to the point where I started. And
Okay. But
so, I go on.
But I mean, we've talked. I know you. We've been through a lot of shit together, and you told me a lot of shit. You've been through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So to say that your brother's been through tougher shit than you, and I'm not buying it. No matter how you look at things, and I'm not saying I will ever know, because I will never know. But that's not
Right.
my fault, and I can't do anything about it.
Mhm.
But for my biggest problem with it is this. So when you do these things and you're like, hey, well, this is tougher, and oh, well, you don't have to go through it. You're a white privileged male, and you never have to even experience that. Okay. Well, I go through my own shit, right? So what I mean by that is when you do that, it almost plays like a victim mentality, and it puts people in a cage. And like, hey, well, you've been through so much shit, it's okay. And when I don't know if you have had people in your family or know anyone, but like when people have a crutch their entire life, they never learn to walk. They're always being helped out.
Yeah.
They're always expecting that, and they never progress, and it's a crutch for them, and they're always stagnant. Where people, and you see, okay, yeah, I see it's tough,
Mhm.
and you just say, hey, everyone goes through their own shit, and it's fucking tough. But what are you going to do about it now? Because everyone has to persevere and grow as a person and go move forward. Otherwise, they're going to be shitty and unsatisfied in life in general. And I guess that's kind of where I'm going with my point. Is like, when you do that, that's why I feel like you can't do that shit to people, because you're crippling them.
But there's also those people that hate the fact that you look at them that way. It's almost like when you pity,
And what, is an equal?
and they don't know. Like if you look at their situation and you kind of like view it as like a pity, and they don't want to be pitied. Like,
Yeah.
the only way I can kind of like,
But that's what
relate
I'm
to
saying
it,
though,
like-
is I'm not looking at everyone like, okay, well, if you're transitioning, yeah, it might be harder, but I've been through shit too. To me, I think that's better, because I'm looking at us as even playing field.
yeah.
Because how else are you
yeah,
supposed to look
I
at
can see
it?
that. I can
If
see
you
that.
don't look at it that way, then how are you supposed to? Am I always supposed to look down on you like pity? Like, okay, well, sorry, man.
It's almost like someone with a disability that is so over the fact that anytime that someone meets them, they point out their disability and cater to their disability when they don't want to be
I talk to
viewed.
him like a child,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want to be viewed
Yeah.
that way, or
right?
they want to be, treated normally.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, why does this have to identify me as, the person with one
Yeah.
arm or the
Right.
person in a wheelchair? It's like, I'm capable. Don't. But that's just kind of like human nature. You kind of want to.
Yeah, for sure.
help
And I
them.
know, and I see you do it. You got your brother, and I see you be very protective of him, which is fine. I don't get offended by it, but like, like back to, kind of what I was saying, like if people go through shit and the toughest they've been through is that's it. They don't know anything else higher, lower, just the worst that they've been through. And that's all that they know. It could mean the end of the world if they went and broke their arm. It could mean the end of the world and somebody's done it 20 times. It means nothing to them. But the person who did it and hasn't been through a lot of shit, it could mean like they're the end of the world. And, but that's just all that they know. So, I mean, you can't really put a gauge on effort. Only you can be the judge of that. Only you can be the judge of how much hard times you've been through. And I try not to look at like all of the hard times I've ever been through. I try to just keep that in my mind to push me forward. Like, hey, I know where I came from. I know what I don't want to happen. So to push me, but like you can't sit and dwell on any of it. If people accept you, if they don't, you know, all of it is just moving forward in life. Because if you don't, then you're just going to be stagnant and miserable. For you only get one shot, one life,
one opportunity, one
Fucking
moment.
had mom spaghetti.
Oh,
Guess where it ended up.
Oh, well,
And it
yeah.
all,
Sweaty.
Yeah,
all.
Sweater.
Hey, he had one little popsicle, and his mom got scared.
Yes.
All right, Timbo, what do you
Slapping-
think, man?
Yeah.
Slapping Chris
Quiet
Rock at
over
the-
there. I mean, where you at?
Oh yeah, no, I've been a little quiet. I'm really torn on everything, honestly. Like I see both sides of everything. P, like you were talking about, I've got family members who are gay and come out. I watch the whole transition, and so I've got feelings on both sides of the scale there. I don't. I mean, I'm kind of going back to the whole trans athlete topic. I don't think that it's fair for a
Right.
trans female to compete against females. I think it's just, I mean, scientifically, it's they have an advantage, but it's tough to
Yes.
tell them because they feel so strongly, and in their heart, they feel that they are female. They were born with male parts. You know, they got a dick hanging between their legs that they don't want, that they don't feel like should have been there. They
Yeah.
were a woman.
That's got to be
But-
tough, but
It's hard to tell them like, no, you can't compete with the females that you feel like you are. And it's
Yeah,
I don't know, it just
it's
If-
got to be tough. But I mean,
it's
maybe this is just being ignorant, but they can't feel good about it.
no, I
Right?
don't
You-
think
you
so
can't-
either. Like I
I
don't know how
wouldn't.
it feels.
If I went and crushed the women's league, I'd be like, guys,
I
let me
mean,
tell
they
you
have to know.
something. You know,
They have to know, like in their heart, they feel like they're a woman, but they have to know they have those advantages of strength and the different bone structure. They gotta know.
it's
They gotta know.
a
They
shitty
just whoop
spot.
someone's ass.
Yeah, it's a shitty spot, and as shitty as it may be, and I've been debating on saying this for a few minutes, but like, the pioneers of anything, I mean, they've had to go down the hard road no matter what. I mean, and that might be just taking the high road and just not competing and just waiting it out until you can get your own shit. Until things level out and stuff like that. It might have to be that way. As shitty as that might be, I mean, if you want to be the early ones to do anything, you've always had a hard road. Always, until it's a thing.
But that kind of
it's-
contradicts your "you only have one life, make the most of it" type of thing. That's
I mean, the
what they
life
feel.
could be being the front man on creating that league, though, and building it for everyone else to come. I mean, that might be.
But you're passionate about competing, not about building the future.
so you've wasted your life in your prime.
You wanted to, drop threes behind. Yeah, you wanted
Points
to
a game.
swim. You wanted to, bowl. You wanted to. I don't know, like.
It might be shitty, but I mean, if you feel that passionate about it and you don't want to be the pioneer to be the first one or create that league and you want to compete, then you might just have to make that decision not to transition and just, keep in the same league and maybe like dress, a certain way, the way you want to express yourself, but maybe not transition over. I mean, you might.
Then
life's
you're
full
not
of
being
tough
true to
decisions.
yourself.
Yeah,
Life's
Then
full
you're
of
not
tough
being true to
decisions.
yourself.
I mean, life's full of tough
Yeah.
decisions, You don't
Yeah.
always get what you want to do, but you got to make those tough decisions. I mean, I want to be a fucking millionaire, but the fuck? And it was happening. I'm going to try to do everything I can. And maybe I don't always know the way to do it, but I'm going to fucking give it a shot. Give it a whirl, speak my mind. I mean, it might just be a tough spot and you might, have to go through some shit, but if you want to be the first one to do anything, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. If it hasn't been done, then you're going to have to figure it out for people. And, maybe that's your life's calling. Or, your one life goal.
That takes a very unique individual to
I'm sure.
to set the standard. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's why there's so few icons. Is
Yeah.
because they were icons for a reason.
Yeah.
So I can see intimidation, like preventing you from doing certain things like that, especially on this topic.
Oh, I'm sure there's been
there's
intimidation
going to be one
forever, and there always will be.
I would be
There's going
interested.
to be one.
I would be interested, and I know we've talked having guests, having people on, and like in a perfect world for every topic we have someone that's an expert or someone who's experienced or someone. I would actually entertain or be open or like. I personally don't know anybody close to me or in my immediate like connection to reach out to that's transgender. You know, I know people that are gay, lesbian, whatever, you know, I know that community very well, but transgender specifically, I don't. It would be interesting if someone we know knows someone that we could get to know and would be comfortable like talking about their thoughts on this. I mean, because as much as I want to say I know what they're going through, I don't know what they're going through. Like,
I'd like to know.
I would like to know. I would like to know their thoughts. I would
Yeah.
like to know their topics, their thoughts and feelings on this in general, because like it's just like saying, I won't go back to this, but like it's like saying like Brad and I stubbed our toe, right?
Simultaneously.
I can relate to him, but I can't say I know what you're going through because he might have no feeling in his big toes and felt nothing. He's like, oh yeah, no, I'm good. And then like I'm over here like in the fetal position in the corner
just
because I just did it for the 12th time in a row.
The frostbite feet. There is no feeling.
But you know what I mean?
Mr.
So it would be
Deeds.
really,
Yeah, that's Mr. Deeds.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
what
it'd be interesting, you know, to really bring this full circle and bring someone on who's been in this world, who's experienced some of this in their life. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I wish we had.
It's genuinely interesting, like, because I'm very open to hearing their perspective on it. And, you know, especially if they're willing to talk about it and go through the uncomfortable route, because I don't feel like we're a judgmental group. And I feel like it'd be an open platform for them to talk.
Yeah. We're going to have to get somebody who isn't going to get their feelings hurt. I mean, we don't judge, but I mean, sometimes we say some stuff that might come off as hurtful or whatever, but people are just going to have to, you know, like be okay with that and be able to like, hey, if one of us throws something your way, like you're going to have to be able to combat that and not get emotional and just say like facts or what actually goes on and not like, you know, have a meltdown or whatever, because then those conversations are not productive. That's just,
also on the approach of how you question certain things.
For sure, but I don't feel like any of us question things terribly. I mean, we might feel strongly about something, but I don't feel like any of us are like, hey, fuck that. That's the fucking stupidest fucking shit I've ever goddamn heard. You're out of your goddamn mind. Like, no, that never happens. I mean, you know, I feel certain ways or strongly about how I feel, but I'm super open on hearing whatever all the time. Like, I'm very curious on a lot of different things, but I also have my opinion. And if people want to throw shit back or whatever, like, I'm open to hear it. I mean, you know, I'm well aware of who I am and, well, you know, what I do and stuff. And that's okay with me. It just is what it is. I mean,
do you think your viewpoint could be shifted, or are you concrete in kind of your beliefs and your ideas?
Well, I'm never concrete in any of my ideas or beliefs. Like, there's certain values that I have, and then that's something that's really tough to shake. But I mean, nothing like, you know, if people came in and said, "Hey, there's fucking aliens cruising around," I want to go down it. Though. I love it.
Join us next week.
I fucking love it. We're going down the alien fucking Giza. God damn it, I want to talk about it so goddamn bad. But that being said, like, I'm not closed-minded about shit. Like, I'm very perceptive on things, and that's part of my curiosity. I want to know, like, where people are coming from, but I also want you to know that you're not going to just throw one on me and be like, oh yeah, this guy, we're going to just, you know, I'm going to change his mind today. Like, okay, well, I hope you do, but you're going to have to come with a lot of concrete facts and a lot of, shit that's truthful and like makes sense in, to be able to change anyone's mind. But I feel like that's the way for anything ever, not just people. But, I might be hard headed and I might believe what I believe, but it doesn't mean it's concrete. I mean, I believe a lot of things, but, there could be new facts and stuff. I'm just, I guess I'm just not a pushover on things. Like, if you got it, bring it. I'm all about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm interested to see next week on
My
aliens.
gosh!
Oh my god!
Open up
Me
a
and
whole
Pete
nother
fucking
can of
talked
worms.
about this shit for a minute, and goddamn, I love it.
Well, boys, I think we captured
These are theories.
this topic pretty well. Maybe we can have a part 2 with someone more closer or someone closer to
Pyramid of
this.
Giza.
But I think it's time to cheers.
Raise your glass.
Raise your glass.
Fucking
Cheers,
yes.
boys.
pick
Yeah.
your brain about the alien topic.
Oh yeah,
'cause they're
aliens are
coming out.
back.
Yeah, let's go.
Aliens never left.
Yeah, civilizations. They're finding
Until
them
next time, boys.
in the
Bradley,
Amazon
next week, buddy. What are you
forest. We're ending
doing?
on
Knock
that
it off.
cliffhanger.
Come on, brother. Don't be fucking teasing.
What a cliffhanger. Keep her
Cliffhanger.
tuned.
Keep her tuned.